we're on to part 6 of the productivity workflow. So we've covered capture, review, and do, and some of the context around that. And now I'm going to go through a worked example of how this all fits together. This is actually the second time I've recorded this because I ran out of battery on the last one and was just talking to myself for 20 minutes, which was great. So here is the way that I set up tasks for the day, and I like to use time boxes. So any digital calendar is set up so it's a timeline of the day and with a week view or a month view. And then you can basically zoom in on that and see how the day is playing out minute by minute. This really suits the way that I like to approach tasks. And although it's considered a bit of a faux pas in the productivity world to equate tasks with events, I see them as one and the same thing, and I think you should as well. So here's why. When you set out a time box, you invoke Parkinson's law, which is that any task expands or shrinks to the time that you've allocated to it, and I'm sure you've experienced that with deadlines. Also, what it does is it allows you a clear start and end time and to know exactly what you're doing. And I actually have a few other defenses in place as well. So using TickTick, also 2 other apps called Blotter and Next Meeting. What they do is make you feel like a dickhead if you stray from that task. And that's because Blotter has a desktop timeline of the day, showing where you're at with the day and where you're at within that task. And then Next Meeting shows a little bar on the top of the menu bar with the number of minutes left of what task you're supposed to be doing and how long is left for it. So if you start deviating, it just reminds you that you're a dickhead. I also use something called Hidden Bar to be able to hide all of the unwanted menu bar items behind the scenes so that you just have the task that's at hand. That way you can really leverage time boxes to your advantage with productivity. I also like to use all-day events as themes for the day. So you can do that either if you're at work that day, for example. So if I'm on long shift in a hospital, for example, I'll have that so I know that if I'm looking at the month view, right, I've got to be in on those days, so I'm going to have limited time. You can also use it for, say, firefighting or project days. TickTick also has a habit tracker built in, so you can put those into the all-day events as well, and it gives you some really nice stats on how compliant you are with your habits. The other great thing about time boxing is that it gives you just-in-time data. That means that if I've got a client call coming up as a 1-hour event, I can put all of their phone numbers and call details and so on in there so that by the time I'm on the call with them, I have all the attachments and all of their notes ready to be able to help them with what they know, and it gives me some context for when I'm talking to them. I've also set up Better Touch tool with a remapped keyboard shortcut, so Command, Shift and C for me opens up TickTick in the day calendar view. That way I can immediately see what I need to do, I can ping it over to the second monitor, and I have that ready. Then if I want to start a task, start the Pomodoro, fills it full screen, tells me how much time I've got left. Just more dickhead reminders if I start to go off task. And it's really important to prepare for you at your weakest moment of willpower, not just riding the wave of motivation, which is transient and unpredictable. The final tip with time boxing is to use wide boxes. Don't overschedule stuff, don't try and cram everything in together. Although it seems ambitious to do that, what's going to end up happening is that you will inevitably take time to go to the toilet or to eat something or whatever, and then that just pushes you back and then you end up just behind on everything and feeling worse about the day. So give yourself a bit of breathing room with each task. Next we have the word no. Make sure to ingrain this in your vocabulary. This is a lesson that I've learned a bit too late, really. I used to be so much of a yes man, and actually saying yes to one thing is saying no to your higher vision, and saying no to many things means that you're saying yes to something that's more important. So just learn, no, doesn't suit my purposes, not useful, not valuable. Otherwise you get to the end of the week or the month and you realise that nothing you've done has actually moved you forward because you've been serving lots of other low-level things that you have nothing to really show for it. Next, we have lists. So try and have as few lists as possible, but make sure each list covers either a specific domain of your life or a specific theme. So personally, I have one about inbox, things that I'm waiting for, so messages to follow up on or whatever. You can also do that with Mail Butler with scheduling messages. Propane Fitness, Propane Business, Hospital, Growth, Admin, and then one for Maureen, which is our admin assistant, where we can just allocate tasks to her and use that as kind of her task manager as well. Generally, the principle is fewer is better. If you want to have a way to categorize tasks that crosses the boundaries of lists, then you can also use tags to draw commonalities between different types of tasks. Next we have the external brain. So as I say, I use Evernote. Command J just pulls up Evernote and pulls up that search bar where I can pull up anything that I need to from the external brain. It's great for if you need to scan documents, admin stuff, notes, book summaries, articles, recipes, reference documents, shared projects, anything like that. And what I love about Evernote is that you can easily tag stuff so that you can have notebooks, items, tags, easy to create, basically plain text documents with the ability to add in images and things, and it's just easy and fast to create. There are alternatives, so the most pretty one is Bear, but I'm not a big fan of it because of the whole markdown thing. There is also FS Notes, which is prioritizing speed over anything else. There's no frills with that one. Alternote, which is like a cheap knockoff of Evernote. Notion, which I really like and I want to love it, but it's a little bit slower and it's much more suited for visually nested databases rather than quickly creating tags and notes. So my preference is Evernote. You could use Apple Notes, but I wouldn't recommend it because the folder structure isn't as well organized and there isn't a quick switcher, which is half of why you want to use a tool like this in the first place. Next we have Daily Schedule. Almost there, guys. So I have an automator script which turns off Wi-Fi until midday. And that, I can put the link in the description below if you're interested. That's literally just, before you go to bed, it just turns off Wi-Fi and then keeps it off until the morning. That way when you wake up and you open your laptop, you're not bombarded with stuff because Wi-Fi is not even on. So there's no risk of anyone getting to you until midday. The other thing is just turn off your phone. Get a physical alarm clock and put it in your room and charge your phone outside your room before you go to bed. That way, you're not just going to wake up, start scrolling the Instagram feed and just tank the first hour of your day. Finally, the shutdown routine. So this is when you come to the end of your day, you want to make sure that you've got everything captured that's come up throughout the day. You do your daily review process, so you plan tomorrow today. You have everything in there, you know that there's nothing that's still percolating from the work day, and you can fully switch off, shut the laptop and go and spend time with your family or friends. You can eventually train your brain to fully switch off and fully relax from work and not just always be in work mode and never get proper rest. If you're interested as well in a bedtime routine, we've got a separate video on that which is in the description, and that is a full process on how to have the best night's sleep of your life, basically, with a full bedtime routine. So that is it for the worked example of my productivity workflow. Next we're going to cover burning a clean flame and any further reading. Alright,